sensual satisfaction. What is sensual satisfaction? They want bigger house, better looking companion, more money, so many things that they want to do for sensual pleasure. And when they don't get that, then they get stressed. So these aspirations increase our stress. So Prabhupada says in Bhagavatam purport. So I just given some purports here from some statements of Srila Prabhupada. For human society, constantly thinking of how to earn money and apply it for sense gratification brings about the destruction of everyone's interest. What is sense gratification? Sense gratification is nothing but overly trying to indulge our senses. The body has senses and they need to be satisfied up to a certain extent for us to survive, right? For example, we need to eat, we need to do a lot of other things. But when we do those things in excess, then the problem arises. Krishna says in the Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, that when you try to satisfy your senses, and if you're not able to do that, then what is the result of that? Kramat kamat krodo vijayate. You feel angry. And then after anger, madness comes and delusion comes, and then complete loss of memory follows. So this is the cause. This is the effect of too much sense gratification. So all the scriptures are telling us that try to keep sense gratification to a minimum. Satisfy your senses only as much as is required, so that we can live a normal, healthy life. But the main focus
banana, strawberry, banana.
Shashank, can you go on mute?
Sasank, and can you just mute to them? Sasank and Sanjay, you can mute, I guess.
So we should live a simple life, not too much sense gratification, so that our main focus should be to understand who we are and how we can, perform our spiritual activities. So Prabhupada says in the next statement that Atma or self is distinguished from matter and material elements. It is spiritual in constitution, and thus it is never satisfied by any amount of material planning. So this is an important point, very important point. Atma or self is distinguished from matter and material elements. So when I had told earlier that the main reason of stress is we have forgotten who we are, this is the answer to that. We are actually spirit soul. And this body is actually a covering. This physical body, this material body is a covering on us, but actually we are spirit soul. Consider one thing, right? There is a fish, it is in water. If you suddenly take that fish out of water and put it on land, will that fish be happy? That fish will start, it will start becoming jittery because it is out of its natural habitat. Its natural habitat is water. So after you put it back into water, then the fish will be satisfied. Similarly, we are spiritual beings. And as per this statement, no amount of material planning can give us happiness, can give us satisfaction. So unless we get connected to our spiritual nature, we cannot get true satisfaction. So in this world, we can get some titillation of our senses, which might be temporary. Like we might go to a foreign country, we might go to Europe, we might get some titillation. That great, I'm going to Europe, I'm going to see a lot of places. That what? You're again going to come back. It might last for 10 days, 15 days. Again, you're going to come back. Again, you're going to work. And then again, after some time, you'll again get some opportunity to satisfy your senses. So this keeps going on, this cycle of enjoyment. Sorry, who's on? On mute.
Just please mute. उनको mute करना है. Yes, I'm not able to. हाँ मिल गया. हाँ ठीक है ना. It is okay.
Yeah. So we are always caught up in this, sankalpa vikalpa, that we get into some enjoyment mode, and then after some time we have to go back to our regular life, and then again we aspire to get some enjoyment. So this alternating enjoyment and work, it keeps going on. We are not able to get fully satisfied. We might get some titillation, of the senses, but true satisfaction eludes us. And it eludes us because we do not know who we are, because we have forgotten who we are. We are trying to look for happiness in the wrong place. So there's a nice pastime in Srimad Bhagavatam, the last statement that I put here. The Lord says, personality of Godhead, Vaman Dev. Vaman is an avatar, Krishna. He says that, O king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the three worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled. So this is the root cause. See, there is a clue that is being given here. Why are we not able to get satisfied? Because our senses are uncontrolled. We aspire for many things, too many things. We are never satisfied with what we have. And that is the cause of our dissatisfaction. So this is a very nice pastime. Actually, what happened is King Indra. Indra was actually defeated by Bali Maharaj, the Lord, the king of the demons. And Bali wanted to have complete sovereignty over the entire universe. So he was performing a huge sacrifice, huge sacrifice. And Krishna, in the form of Vaman, because the demigods, the devatas, they pleaded with Vishnu that, oh Lord, please save us. The demons have complete sovereignty over the entire universe and our power is now getting reduced. So please save us. Please help us. So Krishna or Vishnu took the form of Vaman. Vaman is nothing but he's like a dwarf, small dwarf, small Brahmana dwarf. He took the form of that Vaman Dev and he came to the sacrifice of Bali. Now, among Kshatriyas, there is a custom that whenever somebody comes for the sacrifice, especially if that person is a Brahmana, you have to give charity. Those were the codes that Kshatriyas used to live by in earlier times. Now those codes are no longer being followed. So whenever a Brahmana comes to a sacrifice or to a ceremony, the main person who is holding the sacrifice, he's supposed to get up, invite the Brahmana, give him a nice reception, and then ask what that Brahmana wants. So when he saw this Vamandev who had come to the sacrifice, he was very effulgent. He was looking very beautiful. And immediately Bali got up from his seat, even though the sacrifice was going on. He got up from his seat and then asked this Brahmana, oh Brahmana, what do you want? Please come. We are very blessed that you have come to this sacrifice. So then he washed his feet and then gave him a nice place to sit. And then asked him, what do you want? Please, I'm the ruler of the entire universe. Whatever you want, I can give you. Ask, just ask. So the Kshatriyas had a lot of pride in their charitable disposition. They used to be very charitable. So Bali Maharaj asked Vamandev, and Vamandev said that, O king, I just want 3 steps of land, 3 paces of land. So when Bali hears this, he becomes completely flummoxed. He says, oh Brahmana, are you a fool? I am the ruler of the entire universe. I can give you whatever you want. And you're just asking for 3 steps of land. And then Vamandev makes this statement that, O king, even the entirety of whatever is available in the 3 worlds cannot satisfy one's senses, if one's senses are not controlled. So that is the context of this statement. And it's a very important statement for all of us that if we try to satisfy our senses to the maximum limit, we can never be happy. So whatever we are getting by the will of providence and whatever we are getting by our own activities, we should be satisfied. We should not hanker for too much, because hankering for too much means that we will always be dissatisfied. Finally, what are we looking for? We are looking for satisfaction. We are trying to reduce our stress. We're trying to look for satisfaction. So this formula is given by Vamandev, by Lord Krishna himself, that be satisfied with what you have. Do not try to, hanker for more, because the more you hanker, the more you'll be dissatisfied. Because when you get something, you will get some titillation, some titillation that, oh, I achieved this. But after that, you will not be happy. Believe me. Because you as a person have not gotten satisfied yet, because you have forgotten who you are. You are spirit soul, and the spirit soul, as Prabhupada has said here, cannot be satisfied by any amount of material acquisitions, material planning, cannot be satisfied. So this is an important thing that we can understand from Srimad Bhagavatam, that what is the key to satisfaction? Now, it doesn't mean that we should be, completely inert, right? I'm not saying that we should be inert. We should do our duty to the best of our abilities, but we should not hanker for more. What is being, what is being questioned is the hankering for too much. Some people are very, very much hankering. Like in offices also, I see in the professional world, corporate world, they are so much after a promotion and trying to get up, trying to rise up the corporate ladder, that they forget to live in the moment. They are so much absorbed in that they forget living. And then when they get that promotion, the happiness or whatever, as I said, the titillation, it lasts for some time. Last year I got promoted, by the way. Okay, in last year, not this year actually, the beginning of this year in my company. So yeah, I mean, maybe for some time I felt good, but then after that life went on as usual. Same thing, same. I have to do the same thing what I was doing earlier. Maybe something little bit, something here and there changed, but life keeps going on. But the amount of anxiety that goes in when somebody is hankering for something to happen, that is very, very stressful. So that is the message of this particular section, that we should be satisfied, should not hanker for too much. We should focus our energies on spiritual progress. Material progress is anyway going to happen, we are doing that, but we should also think about our spiritual progress, how we can be spiritually evolved and how we can progress spiritually, because that is what is going to help us in the ultimate issue. So we'll just move on. Yeah, this is one very important statement. Now, this is not something that is given in the scriptures, okay? This is given by someone who is a normal, everyday person, an author called Anne Patchett. She had written in an article in 2017, on December 15th, in a New York Times article. Let's go through this. Once I stopped looking for things to buy, I became tremendously grateful for the things I received. It doesn't take so long for a craving to subside, be it for gin or cupcakes. Once I got the hang of giving shopping up, it wasn't much of a trick. The trickier part was living with the startling abundance that had become glaringly obvious when I stopped trying to get more. Once I could see what I already had and what actually mattered, I was left with a feeling that was somewhere between sickened and humbled. Now, this is a very important statement, the last statement. There is a reason that just about every religion regards material belongings as an impediment to peace. See, this is being said by somebody who is not even, a practicing spiritualist. This realization dawned on her somehow, that too much of material hankering is an impediment to peace. If you want peace of mind, do not hanker for more. Be happy with what you have. And then I just wanted to give the same thing that Srila Prabhupada said. See, people must be taught how to be satisfied with only what they need. What they need. In modern civilization, there is no such education. Everyone tries to possess more and more, and everyone is dissatisfied and unhappy. So this is what Prabhupada is saying, and it is kind of, in consonance with what Anne Patchett is saying here. So this is somebody who is just like us, not even somebody who is practicing spirituality, reading scriptures, just everyday person like us. Maybe she's an author, maybe a notch higher than us, but still. So this is some food for thought for us, that uh, the cause of dissatisfaction is because we are trying to get more and more, and we are not satisfied with what we have. Now, okay, the important thing, as I said earlier, there is a trap here. Okay, now one might say that, okay, let me be satisfied. Okay, let me be satisfied. Let me be satisfied with whatever I have. Maybe I lead a very simple life, not too many acquisitions, not too many hankerings, not too many belongings. Whatever I'm getting by the will of providence, I'll be happy with that. Now, what is the trap here? What is the flip side of this? See, let's read this. In another New York Times article, How to Be Happy, we are told, happiness isn't something that just happens to you. Everyone has the power to make small changes in our behavior, our surroundings, and our relationships that can help set us on course for a happier life. The author, Tara Parker Pope, goes on to explain what those small changes can be. Most of us, me included, can relate to them. Tame negative thoughts, live in a country that is social freedom, spend time in nature. Okay, spend time in nature, establish relationships with happy people, do meaningful work, be kind. Now, this is a good proposition, right? On the face of it, it looks like a very good proposition. You can be happy doing all these things. You can live in the countryside, maybe in a natural place away from the, the razzle and dazzle of city life. You can have good relationships with happy people, not with negative people who pull you down. You can do meaningful work, maybe something like social work. You can be kind. Yeah, you can do all those things. But what is the trap here? There is a big trap here. The trap is that we can get satisfied by our situation, our work, our intellectual pursuits, and we can end our quest for ultimate satisfaction. And what is the ultimate satisfaction? The ultimate satisfaction only comes on the spiritual platform, as I said earlier. Because as I mentioned earlier, we are spirit soul. A fish can only be happy in water. It cannot be happy on land. Similarly, we as spiritual beings can only be happy when we are in touch with the spiritual nature. No amount of material planning or no amount of material happiness can give us true satisfaction. So this is the trap that we should be careful about, because there are many people in this world who might look happy, and they might be happy, really happy, but they have not started their quest for ultimate happiness, which is on the spiritual platform. Because the problem with this world is you might be happy today, but there is no guarantee that you can be happy tomorrow. Because in this world, there are three kinds of kleshas which are there. Klesha means, does anyone understand what is klesha? Klesha is uh, something like misery. Klesha is misery. If I translate the Sanskrit word klesha to English, it is misery. There are three kinds of miseries which are always going to be there in this material world, and they are applicable to everyone. So the scriptures say, the Vedas say that what are those three types of kleshas? The first klesha is Adi Daivika klesha. Adi Daivika klesha means natural disturbances. You are living a very happy life, maybe in somewhere in uh, Japan, in some countryside. You are living a very happy life. You have a farm, you have cows, you grow your own vegetables, you cook your own food, you have nice family. But then Adi Daivika Klesha. What is Adi Daivika Klesha? Natural disturbances. An earthquake can come and completely wipe out everything that you have built. A tsunami can come, a storm can come. So this is one kind of klesha that the Vedas talk about. Adi Daivika Klesha. No one can escape it. It can happen anytime to anyone. Then what is the next klesha that the Vedas talk about? Adi Bhautika Klesha. Adi Bhautika Klesha is misery that is given to us by other living entities. For example, I'm walking on the road very happily. Suddenly, some dog comes and bites me. I have to take 7 injections. Where did my happiness go? I'm sitting in my balcony. Suddenly, a mosquito comes, bites me, I get dengue. I was just sitting, doing nothing. One day I get up in the morning and an envelope comes in my mail, and it's a notice that has been served to me by someone, maybe by my own brother. A legal notice. Adi Bhautika Klesha. These are all examples of Adi Bhautika Klesha. Miseries that are given to us by other living entities. And what is the third kind of klesha? Third misery? Adhyatmika klesha. Adhyatmika klesha is miseries that we suffer from our own body and mind. Some people get mentally deranged, completely deranged. That's like a mental disease. So they suffer so much because of that mental derangement. Then So many people get physical ailments. Like recently I was in a hospital and my younger son had some medical issue. So I was in the pediatric department. So there I saw the glaring reality, which we are kind of completely shunted from because we are living in our own world. But if you go to the hospitals, you will see the glaring reality there. Young children who are just born, newborns, they are undergoing tumor surgeries, heart surgeries, cancer, so on and so forth. The list is endless. So Adhyatmic klesha. So these three kleshas, nobody can escape. So that is why I'm saying that it's a trap. If you are satisfied in this world, that can also become a trap, because it means that you are never going to aspire for a higher destination. You will be happy with where you are, and you will never aspire for the ultimate solution to our problems, ultimate solution, which the Srimad Bhagavatam is offering us, the ultimate solution to our problems. So as it is mentioned here, we end our quest for satisfaction before we have come to its end. So before we come to the end, you know, of satisfaction. So what satisfaction we experience here, it is not the highest satisfaction. As I said, it is just some mental or physical titillation of our senses. But the highest satisfaction can only come on the spiritual platform. So that we can ignore and we can delay if we get too much snug in our material happiness. So let's move on. So what is the source of satisfaction? Let's talk a little bit about that. So now I'm going to talk about what is given in the scriptures in Srimad Bhagavatam especially, and in Bhagavad Gita. By the way, today happens to be the advent of Bhagavad Gita. Today is Gita Jayanti, Mokshada Ekadashi. So this is the day on which the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, almost 5,000 years ago. So it's a very auspicious day actually. So Krishna says in the Gita that everything comes from me, and everything includes everything. When he says everything, it means everything. Aham sarvasya prabhava matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. That's the verse 10.8. So when we say everything comes from Krishna, it means satisfaction also comes from Krishna. The origin of satisfaction is Krishna. And Krishna is self-satisfied. He's called Atmaram. Actually, Krishna is one of the names of Krishna is Atmaram, self-satisfied. He doesn't need any external thing to get satisfied. He's satisfied in his own right, in his own self. Now we are his parts and parcels. We are parts and parcels of God. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in the 15th chapter, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha Manasashtan Indriyani Prakrutistani Karshati. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke. All the living entities are my Amsha. Amsha means parts and parcels. Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Sanatanaha. Eternally. It's not that sometimes they are and sometimes they are not. Eternally we are the parts and parcels of God, Krishna. Manasashtan Indriyani Prakrutistani Karshati. We are struggling very hard with these senses and mind in this material nature. Prakriti stani karshati. Karshati, the Sanskrit word karshati means struggle. So with the mind, mana, shashtan indriyani. Shashtan indriyani means 6 senses, which includes the mind. So 5 senses and the mind. We are struggling very hard in this material world. So we as his parts and parcels have the quality of satisfaction actually. But because we are covered by this material nature, by this material body, we have lost that. We have forgotten that. But we can get that if we approach Krishna. So once we approach Krishna, we will find an unlimited supply of satisfaction, because Krishna is the source of satisfaction. So Prabhupada says in one of the purports of Srimad Bhagavatam, one's only concern should be to satisfy the Lord by one's activities. If the Lord is satisfied by an action, whatever it may be, then it is successful. Otherwise, it is simply a waste of time. That is the standard of all sacrifice, penance, austerity, mystic trance, and other good and pious work. So that is the message of the Gita and the Bhagavatam. That we, in this world are trying to look for our own satisfaction. But that is a very selfish understanding of satisfaction. You know, we have to first understand who we are. When we say selfish, right, we have to understand what is the self. The self is not this body. The self is the spirit soul. And the spirit soul can only be happy when it is in touch with the supreme spirit, that is Krishna. So because we have forgotten that, we are dissatisfied. So the way to get satisfaction is to look for Krishna's satisfaction, satisfaction of God. And then when we do that, automatically we also get satisfied. Automatically. It happens automatically. We don't have to make any external endeavor for that, any extra endeavor for that. So this is what Prabhupada is saying in Srimad Bhagavatam. So one more verse in Srimad Bhagavatam states that devotion, direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and detachment from other things, these three occur simultaneously for one who has taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the same way that pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger come simultaneously and increasingly with each bite for a person engaged in eating. So when we are actually hungry, right? When we are hungry and we start eating something, these three things come automatically and progressively. What are these three things? We get pleasure because we are eating something. We get nourished also, our body gets nourished, and we get relief also from hunger. So we get pleasure because of, if the food is tasty, we get pleasure. We get nourished, our body gets nourished, and we get relief from our hunger. So earlier we were hungry. Now that we have started eating, we start getting relief from that hunger. Similarly, when we start, getting connected to the spiritual nature, these three things happen simultaneously. We get direct experience of the Supreme Lord, and we get detached from other things. And why is this detachment important? Because as I mentioned earlier, there has to be some level of detachment. If we don't have detachment, then we are always going to be hankering for material things. So we have to be detached from matter. And then devotion. So these three things occur simultaneously in the same way that we feel pleasure, nourishment, and relief from hunger when we start eating. So what is the formula for satisfaction? That is given in Bhagavatam. In the very first canto, in the very first few chapters, it is given. So this verse goes like this: Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such service, such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. This is the formula for satisfaction of the self. That if we engage in the service of the Lord, then we can be satisfied. In our current situation, we are trying to satisfy our own selves. But as I mentioned earlier, the soul can never be satisfied by any amount of material acquisitions, material planning. It can only be satisfied when it is in touch with the spiritual nature, with the Supreme Spirit, Krishna. Because we are parts and parcels of Krishna. As I had mentioned earlier, when fish can only be happy in water, it cannot be happy on land. So this verse talks about the supreme occupation, dharma. Now, what is the meaning of the word dharma? This word dharma is very confusing actually. There are many meanings that people give for the word dharma. So, dharma, the word dharma comes from the root dhr. Dhr means that which sustains something, dhr. For example, water. What is the dharma of water? Can anyone tell me what is the dharma of water?
Flow.
To flow. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else?
So it can be into a different form.
Then it will not be called water. It might be called ice.
Is it to clean?
No, I can use phenyl also to clean, right? So then that is not the real dharma. Dharma is that quality of an object that cannot be separated from it. Cannot be separated. So the dharma of water is liquidity. If water is not liquid, it cannot be called water. What is the dharma of sugar? The dharma of sugar is sweetness. If the sugar is not sweet, it cannot be called sugar. Similarly, the dharma of salt is saltiness. And the dharma of the living entity, we, all of us, the dharma of all of us is to serve. We cannot live without serving. Service. You see, everyone in this world is serving someone or something. Either a person is serving the company, or if a person is unemployed, that person will serve his family, or if that person does not have a family, that person will keep a pet dog and serve the dog or a cat. And if nothing like this is present in that person's life, the person will anyway serve his senses. So we cannot live without serving. So that is the dharma of every jiva. Jiva means living entity. Now, what is the supreme dharma? The supreme dharma is serving God. Service element cannot be taken away from us. We have to serve someone or something. That cannot be separated from us because that is our core dharma. But we have to reorient ourselves. We have to, if we want to get satisfaction, then we have to serve the Lord. And when we serve the Lord, then everything else becomes all right. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a verse that Yatha Taror Mula Nishechanena Tripyanti Yatskanda Bhujopashaka. What it says is that when you water the root of the tree, the leaves, the branches, the twigs, they get water automatically. You don't have to individually go and water the leaves, the twigs, the branches. You can't do that. It's impossible. What you have to do is just water the root. When you water the root, the water reaches each and every part of the tree. Similarly, another analogy that Srimad Bhagavatam gives is, if you supply food to the stomach, then each and every part of your body will get nourished. You don't have to individually feed each and every part of the body. For example, if you say the body parts suddenly they go on a strike, they say that, hey, why is it that the stomach gets the food every time? We are also working. The hands will say we are working. The legs will say we are working. The mouth will say I'm speaking so much. The brain will say I'm intelligence is in me. So why should the stomach get the food? Let us not give food to the stomach. Let us all eat the food. So then what the body parts do is they try to eat food, but they can't do it. And then the stomach becomes empty. And because the stomach becomes empty, the stomach is not able to give the nourishment to all the parts of the body, and all the body parts die. So that is not the right way. When you give food to the stomach is not selfish. The stomach, when it gets food, it distributes that food in the form of energy to each and every part of the body, and then the body feels nourished. Similarly, Krishna is not stingy. When you give pleasure to Krishna, when you serve Krishna, he distributes that pleasure to all of us. That is the formula. So that is what we can learn from the Srimad Bhagavatam, how we can be in touch with the spiritual nature, and that will give us our real happiness. And that will also give us our ultimate goal. Our ultimate goal is to connect with Krishna, with the spiritual nature, and to not come back into this material world. Because in this material world, there's a lot of misery. The Adi Daivik, the Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmic kleshas are always going to be there. You cannot change that. You cannot do any adjustments. So the best thing to do is try to get connected to the spiritual nature, live in this world, like a lotus leaf. There's a very nice analogy that comes in the Gita. Padma Patram Ivambasa. Like a lotus leaf is untouched by water. You can live in this world like that. Happily. If you are in touch with the spiritual nature. So you can be like a lotus leaf. Untouched by all the things that are happening around you. You will continue to do your swadharma, your duty, but you will also focus on your paradharma. Paradharma, right? Parodharma. Yeah, the parodharma is coming. The paradharma is the highest dharma, the supreme occupation. and that is to get in touch with our originator, our creator, Krishna. So with that, I come to the last part of the presentation. So this is the entire Srimad Bhagavatam set. So this is what I've been talking about, right? Whatever I've based my talk on, it's on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the Srimad Bhagavatam set, it has 12 cantos. One canto is a collection of chapters. Total, there are around 335 chapters divided across 12 cantos. And it has 18 volumes, 18 books. The English version also has 44 volumes, so there are smaller books as well. And total, there are 18,000 shlokas, Sanskrit shlokas. And it is available in all languages, English, Marathi, all the languages, even all foreign languages. There are 280 plus artworks. It has everything. Srimad Bhagavatam has everything: adventure, history, architecture, art, poetry, creation, how the creation happens, culture, economics, philosophy, genetics. For example, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the third canto, it is given how, when the conception happens between male and female, how the ovum, it grows and becomes a zygote, and then eventually becomes a fetus, right? All the entire progression of that is given in the third canto, and it completely matches with what medical science tells us. So just imagine, this is the authority of this great literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. 5,000 years ago. It is actually eternal. So 5,000 years ago, it was put in print form, but Srimad Bhagavatam is eternal. You cannot put a date on Srimad Bhagavatam. It is eternal knowledge. So this has been completely translated by Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. And for each of the shlokas, Sanskrit shlokas, he has given the word by word meaning, the transliteration, the translation, and a very elaborate purport, which is based on all the previous acharyas. So this is not something that he has concocted. It is all based on the previous acharyas like Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, all the great acharyas, Nimbarkacharya. So when you read the Srimad Bhagavatam set of Srila Prabhupada, you are actually getting the condensed knowledge of all the great acharyas of the world in one edition, in one book. So with that, I will stop my presentation here, and if there are any comments or any questions, feel free to ask, please. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. I would really like it if all of you can start your cameras at least for the next 5 to 10 minutes, so that we can have some interaction.
Everybody, webcam.
This is the problem with online meetings. I mean, people cameras off.
Okay. Irfan, Jishan, Dheeraj, others, Sasank, Logesh.
So
one question I have, basically in this.
Just one point, Ashish, sorry. So stress is not going to go overnight, okay? I'm not giving a formula, quick win formula. Getting satisfied takes work. It's not a one-day affair. Like in the motivational speakers say, right? Okay, you do this 3-day course, 7-day course, you'll be happy. No, it doesn't work like that. It takes time. I'm not promising you any quick fix. It takes time, but if you take the first step, believe me, that's a big deal. To take the first step towards this process, because Krishna says in the Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, that neha vikramo nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if you do a little bit on this path, little bit, it is going to be successful, either in this life or in the next life. Because spiritual credits, they are eternal. Material credits are temporary. They get lost with the loss of the body. So let's say that you're a doctor in this life. In next life, you cannot say that, hey, I was a doctor in this so and so hospital, I should be a doctor now also. No, sir, no. You have to study again, right from primary school, secondary school, 10th standard, college, medical college. Again, you have to study, and then you have to qualify to become a doctor again. You can't say that, hey, I was a doctor in my last life, I have to become a doctor now, I can become a doctor now. No, they will just drive you away. But spiritual credits are not like that. Spiritual credits, Krishna says in the Gita that if somebody doesn't attain success in this life, then he gets a chance in the next life to start off from where he left. He says, Krishna says in the 6th chapter of Gita that if you are unsuccessful in this life, you will be born in an aristocratic family in the next life where you have all the facilities. You don't have to you don't have to worry about your daily subsistence and all those things. And you get an opportunity to, continue. And then next he says that some people get an opportunity to get born in a family of transcendentalists, devotees, for example, those who are practicing this process. That is a greater birth because you get higher impetus to practice this in such a family. So all those things are given in the scriptures very, very nicely. So I'm not promising any quick fix, any quick win for all of you, for anyone. I'm just introducing you to this culture, this Bhagavata culture, this culture of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And if you take this up, if you take first step, the first baby step on this, ultimate success is guaranteed. If not here now, later. Hare Krishna.
So one question, I guess, anybody has any other question?
Yeah, questions are there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so actionable steps, let's talk about like from today or tomorrow, what is to be done, like sit in front of God and pray and say Hare Krishna. That is one example I'm giving. I'm not saying that is the only thing, but actionable steps I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I liked your presentation and glad that you are being in software and IT and doing this. Very good.
Yeah, sure. So when Krishna gave the entire knowledge of the Gita to Arjuna, it took maybe 1 hour or so. Okay, 18 chapters. It took maybe 1 hour or so. So Arjuna did not go to the forest. Actually, first of all, very, very amusingly, before the Gita started, Arjuna wanted to go to the forest. He was a Kshatriya on the battlefield. He got the jitters. He was a great Kshatriya. He was a celebrated archer. He had won many battles in the past. But on that very important battle of Kurukshetra, in that very important battlefield of Kurukshetra, he got the jitters. He thought that how can I kill my swajanas, my relatives, my grandfathers, my fathers-in-law? Because on the opposite side, the Kauravas, they were all his relatives, right? The Bhishma Pitama, Dronacharya. Dronacharya was his guru. So he got weak in his knees. He said, how can I kill them? Let me go to the forest. I cannot do this. So this is where actually Arjuna, before the Gita, he was planning to go to the forest. After the Gita, he fought. He fought valiantly. So Krishna says in the Gita in the 8th chapter that Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhya Mai arpita mano buddhir mam evaishyasi asamshayah. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu. He tells Arjuna, every time, always think about me, yudhya fight. Think about me and fight. Mai arpita mano buddhir. Dedicate your buddhi and mind to me, and then you will come to me. I promise this. Ultimately, you will come to me. So we do not have to give up anything. Whatever we are doing, I'm not saying that we have to sit in front of the Lord and just chant Hare Krishna 24 hours a day. No. We have to chant Hare Krishna. Okay. There is a specific time in which we have to chant Hare Krishna. That is to understand our spiritual nature. That is to get in touch with our spiritual nature. So every day in the morning, I get up early in the morning and I chant Hare Krishna. That is the first thing that I do in the morning. My day starts with that. Okay. And then I'm ready to face the world, face the day. So Arjuna fought valiantly. And similarly, we also have to do our duty valiantly. We do not have to give up anything. We have to just add Krishna, the instructions of Krishna to our life. Hope that answers Suman Prabhu.
Yes, very good.
Hare Krishna.
I guess he is asking more related to laws of karmas.
Who is asking?
Suman, this much is related to karmas, right? Karma. So just wanted to one thing कि अभी धर्मा हम लोग धर्मा की बात कर रहे हैं तो in corporate world, right? How we can basically more use that dharma, right? Majorly for serving, right? For to manage these things, right? मतलब if we will basically go for serving or if we wanted to adopt the dharma in day-to-day basis life?
See, I would say corporate world, just do your duty, right? Just do your duty in the corporate world. You can't really bring all these spiritual concepts in today's corporate world, because today's corporate world is very secular in nature. In fact, in today's corporate world, in companies, they do not even talk about religion, do not even talk about dharma. They do not even bring God in the picture. Okay, because they feel that God is the cause of unrest, quarrels in the world, you know. And to a certain extent, that is true also, because immature people, they use God as the means to create unrest, create strife between religions. But actually, there is no strife. Religion is one. There is only one religion. What is the religion? Religion is to love God, and God is only one. But the corporate world will not understand that. It's very difficult for us to get these things into the corporate world. So what I would suggest is that we should just do our duty, treat it like a job, not get too much caught up in it, be a little healthily detached from it, and our focus should be spiritual emancipation, because that is the true purpose of human life. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. The Vedas say that now that you've got this human form of life, think about Brahma Jigyasa. Animals, what is the difference between animal and man? Mahabharat says very nicely. Ahar Nidra Bhai Maitunam Cha. Okay, Ahar Nidra Bhai Maitunam Cha. Samanyam etat Pashubir Naranam. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesha. Dharme nahi na Pashubhi Saman. What does it say? Ahar Nidra Bhai Maitunam Cha. Ahar, eating, Nidra Bhai. Nidra is sleeping, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These four things are common between animals and human beings. Samanyam etat Pashubir Naranam. Pashubi means animal, Naranam means human being. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesha. What is extra in human beings? Dharma. Dharmo hi tesha adhiko vishesha. Dharmena hina, without dharma, dharmena hina Pashubhi Naranam. The man is like an animal without dharma. If the man is just doing eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Very clearly, Mahabharat says. So our main focus should be to get spiritual emancipation. Because after all, everyone is looking for happiness. In whatever we are doing, we are looking for happiness. Why are we going to the company? To get happiness. Because we feel that if we earn money, then we might get some happiness, which to a certain extent is true. We need money to survive, to sustain our existence and all. That is fine. We need to do that. But our main focus should be to get spiritual emancipation, to get spiritually advanced, raise our consciousness spiritually. And then Padma Patra Vimambasa, lotus leaf untouched by water. You will do your work to the best of your abilities, but you will not be, too much hung up on the result. Because the result is anyway not in your hands. It's not in your hand.
So for that, I guess just one more question. So if you will not, so then what is the basically concept detachment? So how we can detach from the result?
Yeah.
Actually, yes.
Yes. There are two kinds of detachment, okay, that Rupa Goswami says in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Detachment means Vairagya, right? Vairagya. So he talks about two kinds of Vairagya. Vairagya, Falgu Vairagya and Yukta Vairagya. Now, Falgu Vairagya is giving up everything, without knowing that these things can be used in the service of the Lord. For example, I might say that I am completely detached. I will not even use this laptop. I am now giving this presentation on the laptop, right? I will say that I will not use my laptop. I am detached. Vairagya aa gaya mujhe. But that is a foolish concept of Vairagya, because I can use this laptop to talk about Krishna and maybe give this knowledge to other people. I can use this laptop for the right thing. Microphone, for example. Somebody might say that I will not use microphone, but I can use microphone to talk, right? And many people can hear. So that is that concept where you give up everything without trying to understand its relationship with the Lord is called Falgu Vairagya. Falgu Vairagya means incomplete Vairagya. And the other kind of vairagya is yukta vairagya, the right vairagya, yukta vairagya. That is, use everything in the service of the Lord. So your job also you can use in the service of the Lord. You do your job, whatever some part of it you use in the service of the Lord. Some part of the money that you get, salary that you get, use in the service of the Lord. Earlier times, the kings used to patronize all these spiritual practices, the religion, right? They used to build temples, big temples. Now that concept is no longer there. That is why the spiritualists have to go and beg in front of all the rich people. But earlier it was not the case. They used to use their wealth for dharma. Now nobody is using wealth for dharma. They are using it only for karma. Karma means, what is karma? Karma is whatever we do for our own satisfaction, that is called karma. Because you will get the result of that, either good or bad. But when we do things for dharma, that's for Krishna, you will not get the good or the bad result. It is called akarma. Because both good and bad are bad. Why are they bad? Because even if you have to get some good result, you have to again take a material body to enjoy that good result. So Krishna clearly says in the Gita that come to the stage of akarma. Do things for the supreme reality. Don't do it for your own. When you remove the self-mindedness, right? That's when you will feel satisfaction. See, and there are many people in this world who are trying to do that. What are the social workers trying to do? The NGOs and all. They are trying to do the same thing. They are trying to serve others, but they don't have complete knowledge. They do not know that unless we serve God, we cannot get true satisfaction. They might get some satisfaction at some level, but the spiritual satisfaction can only come when we connect ourselves with God, with Krishna. And now when I say Krishna, it is like Krishna is one name. There are many names of God. Allah, Christ. I'm saying God. There is only one God. But the tradition that I am following, we call him Krishna, right? Based on the scriptures. So Srila Prabhupada was very open. When he went to the West, some people asked him that you are presenting a very sectarian idea. Krishna, it's a Hindu idea. Prabhupada said that you chant your God's name, whatever you have been given, like Christ, Allah, all are bona fide names of God. The main thing is that we have to connect ourselves with God. And for that, we need the right knowledge. We need to go to a proper person, a spiritual master, a guru, who knows what is what, and then get trained under that person.
Yeah, hi. I have one question. Am I audible?
Sorry, who is it? Can you start your camera, please?
Irfan, yes.
Okay, Irfan. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Because you have said that we should have the separate from the corporate world, because most of the time we have spent in the corporate world, right? From 8 hours or 9 hours or most. So how we can keep ourselves separate from the corporate world? Because
No.
we cannot do the two things at the simultaneous.
No. I said I did not say keep yourself separate from the corporate world. I said keep this dharma and all separate from the corporate world. They will not accept it. If you try to bring dharma into the corporate world, like God and all, they will not accept it, because most companies today, they do not entertain these concepts, the religious concepts and all. So I'm saying that you go to your job, do your duty, but also devote time to understanding your true nature. Some part of the day should be devoted to that, should be carved out for that, so that you can at the same time understand your true nature. And in the ultimate issue, we have to get spiritual emancipation. The main purpose of life is to get out of this material world, stop this cycle of birth and death, get out of this material world and go back to the spiritual world, where we can have an eternal blissful life.
Yeah, but we can. I think because in this world, as I understand, dharma is a way of life. We cannot exit or enter to corporate or dharma like that. So we should have a different way so that we can spend our lives in the corporate world as the God commands to us, like that. It's my belief, so that
For
we
that,
can continue to consider our God's
I understand what you're saying. For that,
Yeah.
you might have to go to such a company which accepts these things, or you have to start your own company. I've seen some of the people who I'm associated with. They have started their own companies, and they are running that company in a dharmic way, on the basis of dharma. They are doing that. So that's a big topic actually.
Yeah.
But
Because I think company does not exclude ourselves from the dharmas like that. They are just looking for the work.
exactly, they are looking for profit.
Yeah, profit. So we can continue our dharma as well,
Yes.
but what should be company's priority as per my understanding?
What should be? Sorry, can you come again?
The work for the company should be priority.
See, at this stage, when somebody is starting off, you have to work. You can't just say that I will just do my spiritual practices and not do my work. That will be very premature. Arjuna said that same thing to Krishna, that I will renounce everything and I will just do meditation. But Krishna said that is not the right thing. He said that you have to do your duty, and at the same time you have to understand your true nature. So in the premature stage, we should not give up our work. We should continue our work, but try to understand who we are and try to cultivate that knowledge. And then at some point when we are mature enough, we can think about completely focusing on dharma completely. But that takes some time. It cannot happen overnight.
Yeah, it's okay. Because I practicing the Islam, so we are working in the corporate world, but we have to perform the 5 times prayer.
Namaz,
So
I know, yeah.
there are two or three prayers we have to offer in the office or
Yes.
outside of the office we have to go. So as per doing the work, we have to manage the God's commands, whatever
Yeah,
we have.
that's fine.
That
I mean, even in our companies, like there is a separate prayer room nowadays in most companies. You can go and do your prayers there, right?
yeah, yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Anyone has any other questions? Logesh? Or anyone? So no other questions?
So just wanted to say one small thing. If anyone is interested in the Srimad Bhagavatam, please contact Ashish, and he can guide you. So the set that I showed, which is the basis on which I gave my talk, I just gave a very brief understanding of that. Srimad Bhagavatam is a huge literature, and if you start reading it, then you will, get that knowledge. We say page by page you can become a sage. If you read page by page of Srimad Bhagavatam, you can become a sage, whatever you're doing in this very life. So please contact Ashish if anyone is interested in getting the Srimad Bhagavatam set. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So I will get in touch. Maybe if we see any other good topic like a detachment or any other good topic, maybe you can also suggest and I will check with them.
Yeah, definitely.
So we can take it up in some other time. But thank you very much for your valuable time, Saurabh.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you, everyone.
Yes. You have
Yeah.
given a
Thank
valuable
you, sir.
insight.
Yeah, it's a good session for regarding the spirituality.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hare
thanks.
Krishna.
Thank you. So can we close now?